My dad's 63M is paying off my sister's 29F and 30F student loans, but not mine 28F. What should I say? Story 1. I am 28F. I have 3 sisters, 29F, 30F, and 25F. My parents, 63M and 61F, have been divorced for 12 years. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, and my dad has a Ph.D. in nuclear engineering and makes a good living. My mom has had to find her way back into work after being out for so long, and now has a work-from-home job in customer service making just enough to pay her bills each month. When my parents got divorced, I was the only one who chose to live with our mom, while my sisters stayed with our dad because they didn't want to leave the original house which he got. My parents' relationship with each other has improved over the years to where they now spend holidays together so they can both be with their kids. Neither of them are dating, but in the beginning, probably up until I had my son, the only grandchild, they really didn't like each other. I've always been very close to my mom and not so much my dad, and part of that is because I believe he treats me very different from how he treats my sisters. My mom says this is because I chose to live with her and not him. My 29-year-old sister has gotten herself a Ph.D. in economics and is teaching at a university. She is not married, no kids, and lives alone. My 30-year-old sister has a bachelor's in psychology and attended 2 different grad programs but didn't finish either, and is planning on going back to grad school this year. She is working full-time and is married to a woman who also works full-time. Together, they make around $100,000 a year. My 25-year-old sister went to some community college at my dad's urging, for which he paid the tuition. She did not continue. She decided to get her real estate license. My dad funded the course and all costs. She lives with her boyfriend, not married, no kids. I went to the same community college my younger sister went to and studied a university transfer track to a bachelor's degree in psychology. After transferring, I changed my major to nursing. I graduated nursing school last May and am now a nurse. When I entered community college, I was 19, living with my mom, no job, full-time student. My dad made me take out student loans. My mom would have paid, but she couldn't afford it. My older sisters also took out loans, but they went to university, which was much more expensive. When I met my husband, I was still on the track to my degree in psychology. I braked from school when we discovered I was pregnant in 2019. Between 2019 and 2022, I had my son, got married, and started school again, but now for nursing. My husband and I started paying off my student loans when we got married in 2019, and I had $12,000 in loans, which we were able to pay down to $4,000 by the time COVID came and the loans paused. When I decided to go to nursing school, I chose to go to a private school because they had night class options which would allow me to be home with my son until my husband got home. The tuition cost my husband and I $27,000. $7,000 we paid out of pocket and $20,000 in more loans. I graduated last year with a total of $24,000 in student loans. My husband is successful and has a doctorate in chemical engineering. He works for a university health system as a scientist and makes a salary of $140,000. We also own a home, have 2 pets, a 4-year-old, and I am pregnant again. Between my student loans, credit card payments, car payments, bills, the house, etc., we barely have extra money anymore. I was working, but not since recently due to being pregnant. I do plan to keep working, but my previous job was too physically demanding, and this was a pregnancy that had to be achieved with fertility treatments, so I'm very anxious about anything going wrong. I recently discovered that my dad has been paying my older sister's student loans every month in full, and that he pays all 3 of my sister's auto insurance. He paid my insurance until I got married. The day I got married, he cut me off. However, my oldest sister is married, and he is still paying for hers. I'm dumbfounded. I thought my dad was being conservative and old-fashioned by not paying for anything for me since I got married. Then I discover he's still covering my married sister's loans and insurance. This man is bleeding money. He has 3 cars, one of which he just gave my younger sister, and is still paying for it, and 2 houses in 2 different states. For Christmas this year, he got me 2 sweaters. 2 sweaters. But got my sisters like 10 things each. He has a budget he spends on each child for Christmas, and since getting married and having my son, he has taken my individual budget and divided it by 3 so my son and husband can get 1 small thing from him. It's honestly such a stark difference between my mom, who has created 2 entirely additional budgets for her son-in-law and grandson, and my in-laws, who do the same. Neither my mom nor my in-laws make close to as much money as my dad makes. My dad and I are not estranged. I see him frequently, and was invited to his house for dinner tonight. I want to bring all of this up, but I don't know what to say. My sisters have told me are not going to get involved because they don't want to do anything that would make him stop paying for their stuff. What should I do? Our advice. It sounds like you're facing a difficult situation, and it's understandable that you're feeling hurt and confused about your father's unequal treatment. Before bringing up the issue with your dad, it might be helpful to take some time to organize your thoughts and feelings about the situation. Here are a few steps you could consider. Reflect on your feelings. Take some time to think about how this situation has affected you emotionally. It's okay to feel hurt or frustrated, and acknowledging your emotions can help you approach the conversation with your dad calmly and constructively. Clarify your goals. What do you hope to achieve by bringing up this issue with your dad? Are you seeking financial support for your student loans, or are you more interested in understanding his reasoning behind his decisions? Clarifying your goals can help you stay focused during the conversation. Choose the right time and place. Pick a time to talk to your dad when you both have some privacy and won't be interrupted. It might be helpful to choose a neutral location, such as going for a walk or meeting for coffee, where you can have a calm and open conversation. Express your feelings when talking to your dad. Try to use I statements to express how his actions have made you feel. For example, you could say something like, "I felt hurt and confused when I found out that you're still paying for my sister's student loans but stopped helping me after I got married." Ask for clarification. Try to approach the conversation with an open mind and ask your dad to explain his reasoning behind his decisions. Avoid accusing or blaming him, and instead, focus on understanding his perspective. Set boundaries. Depending on the outcome of the conversation, you may need to set boundaries with your dad regarding his financial support. Be clear about what you need from him moving forward and what you're willing to accept. Seek support if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about how to approach the conversation. Consider reaching out to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist for support and advice. Remember that it's okay to advocate for yourself and your needs, and you deserve to be treated fairly by your family members. Good luck with the conversation, and I hope you're able to find a resolution that feels right for you. First comment. So, I would stop focusing on money. If you bring this forward in the way you did in this post, you will sound like you feel you are entitled to his money and like a child talking about gift amounts. Bad look, bad argument. He doesn't owe you any of this. You also aren't exactly in rags while paying off your debt. You chose to have another child via fertility treatment and can seemingly afford it even with you being off of work and having another kid plus your debt. It seems the hurt truly is in the stark difference in treatment between you and your siblings. Money just represents this. This is what I would discuss. Do not mention the way you count his money and gifts or help to everyone, as again it sounds petty and entitled. I would open up a conversation about your choice as a child. You notice you are treated differently from the rest. Bring up some examples other than dollars to balance this, and ask if he is angry or carries resentment towards you for choosing to live with mom. Maybe this conversation can help to start to repair that. Maybe it won't. I would explore in your heart if you want to repair the relationship, or if you simply want financial help. The latter may not get you anywhere. If you want help with something specific, student loans, you need to ask without bringing up siblings. Then you need to accept the answer. If you want to repair the relationship, have a deeper conversation than finances. Second comment. Bo, you need to have a conversation with him, but as best you can really practice your tone to not sound accusatory and angry, but rather confused. And finally, make sure to have this conversation alone with him. Having the right setting where he does not feel that what you say is overheard or puts him in a bad light in front of others is very critical. And do not get into specifics like you have done in this post from the onset. Try to generalize as you state why you are confused. For example, stating, "Dad, I recently found out some things that are very confusing and have me concerned that something is wrong. I found out that my sisters have been getting things like their school loans and car insurance paid for, while you do not do that for me." Then, and this is very important, wait for his response and listen carefully when he states it. He may say something like, "You are married and your husband does much better financially, and you have a career that is much more stable than your sister in real estate." Then, with a controlled, non-judgmental tone of voice, point out how much debt you have. It's very possible he does not realize it. The last thing you want to do is accuse him outright of favoritism, or state aloud what you imply here, that he is showing that favoritism to the other sisters because you chose to live with your mother. You are not a party to private conversations he has had with your sisters. It is very possible that they each point blank asked him for financial help along the way, and he complied, and your perception of favoritism is wrong, because he comes from the perspective that if you needed his help you would have asked. But this is what you need to also understand. Do you truly need his help? Are you only upset because you perceive favoritism? Would your husband want to take money from your dad? Ask yourself what is to be gained and lost by this conversation you have with your dad, and whether either are worth it.